let you know something. First of all, let me know what city, what state, what country you are checking in from. This live is only going to be a few minutes because I have a class to hop on in a few minutes. We have men's class, so I'm going to hop on that. But I had to just make this statement really quick. Sister Regina King, and to the entire cast of One Night in Miami, I'm just making this very clear to all of those. There is no other group of people who allows their history to be fictionalized, especially when it comes to our leaders. There is no other group of people who allows their history to be fictionalized, to be made fun of, to be minimized, to be trivialized. You don't do what others would never allow you to do. I'm going to make this clear. I'm just saying this as Brother Rizza Islam, as a member of the Nation of Islam. I do not like One Night in Miami. I do not like the fact that they keep pimping Malcolm X. Pimping him. America hated Malcolm X. America hated Muhammad Ali. After they found out Sam Cooke was funding Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam on the underground, on the low, they hated Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke owned his own masters. So the people who were running the industry did not like him because he was not their slave. They didn't too much like Jim Brown. I do not like when they play with our leaders, those who came before us, and when they fictionalize. Again, this was a fictional account, meaning it's not real. I don't like it. Let me make it very clear again. I'm going to say this to you. This government hated Malcolm, just like they hate Minister Farrakhan, just like they hated the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, just like they hated Marcus Garvey, just like they hated Khalid Muhammad, just like they hated Yahweh ben Yahweh, just like they hated Ida B. Wells, just like they hated all of our leaders. They did not love them. They don't like them. They don't want them, period. There's something called the counterintelligence program. They bugged Malcolm's house and his phones. They were watching him, just like they were watching the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who they were watching for years before Brother Malcolm. They met with Malcolm X. They tried to get him to get more undercover agents into the Nation of Islam, to try to spy more on the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. They hated Martin Luther King. They hated them. The United States government has utilized, through the movie and film industry, contracts between the FBI and the CIA to utilize mind control in order to control the masses and manipulate the emotions, manipulate the intelligence, manipulating film. This is why your brother in chapter 7 put this in the book. Tell, Lie, Vision, Programming. Tell, Lie, Vision, Programming. Link in the bio. Link in the bio. Because they use film to manipulate how you think. So in this film, I watched the discussion from Regina King and the whole cast, right? I watched them talk about it, and I watched them talk about what they were trying to get across to the people and what they wanted to do. One major thing that they kept saying was that they wanted to bring out the humanity of Malcolm, the humanity of Jim Brown, the humanity of Muhammad Ali, the humanity of Sam Cooke. No, what you want to do is you want to weaken and soften Malcolm. You want to soften Muhammad Ali. You want to soften the reality of who they are, what they stood for. They did not trust this government. They did not speak soft to this enemy. They did not hold their tongue. What you are doing is you're trying to effeminize the legacy of Malcolm X, effeminize the legacy of Muhammad Ali, effeminize the legacy of Jim Brown and Sam Cooke to try to make them more palatable for white people. You're trying to manipulate the future generation by manipulating history through utilizing a fictional apparatus through the movie and film industry to mix up truth and falsehood and battle against what is right, what is historical versus what is fictional and what is not in reality. So then this generation of children coming up are not going to know the revolutionary Malcolm, the revolutionary Elijah Muhammad, the revolutionary Sam Cooke, the revolutionary Muhammad Ali. You're going to make all of our black leaders and reduce them to soft, effeminate, cute black people that this white man and this system of white supremacy will tolerate. That's what you're trying to do. This is why I'm saying to everybody in the movie and film industry, stop talking about the Nation of Islam. Because in the film, they talked about Minister Farrakhan. Minister Farrakhan wasn't the minister back then. Historically. See, the truth is he wasn't the minister back then. So why were y'all talking about Minister Farrakhan in a negative way? Then they talked about the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad back then. They talked about him in a negative way. Wait a minute. Hold on. Excuse me. This is a real live organization. I am a member of the Nation of Islam. This is not a damn joke. You don't fictionalize what we do. You don't fictionalize who we are. You don't fictionalize the plight of us fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. You would never do that to a Jewish organization. You would never do that to a Chinese organization fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. But you only do it to the Nation of Islam because we are still relevant, because we are still influential, because we are still here, because we still stand on the same principles all the way back from 1930 up until now. You do not control us. You can't believe that we're still in existence. You tried to stomp out the Black Panthers. You tried to stomp out the Deacons of Defense. You tried to stomp out the Yahutu fighters. You tried to stomp out CORE. You tried to stomp out SNCC. You've taken over the NAACP from its inception. You've taken over the other black organizations for the vast majority, so they do what you ask them and tell them to do. But the Nation of Islam will never do what you tell us to do. And so because of that, you constantly pimp the name of Malcolm X, who you hated. You pimp Malcolm. Pimp him, because people who love the legacy of Malcolm, you have you noticed that they keep coming out with movies and documentaries and films using Malcolm X's name? Have you noticed that? You pimp. You hated Malcolm, now you make money off of him. You hated Malcolm, but then you bugged his hotel, bugged his house, watched his family, orchestrated his murder with the people who were his security guards who were undercover FBI agents. Eugene Roberts, who worked for the police department at the time and was an FBI agent. His video was on YouTube where he's confessing that he was an FBI agent during the time. He's the one who gave Malcolm mouth-to-mouth resuscitation when you do not do that to a person who has bullet wounds around the chest. You don't give a person mouth-to-mouth who has bullet wounds around the chest. You cover the wounds. You don't push oxygen into their mouth because that's going to force blood into the lungs, therefore speeding and quickening up the death. You helped him to get murdered and killed, just like you orchestrated Dr. King's murder with black people who were connected to it. You used the FBI, you used some black people in the FBI, you used some white people, you used the local police department to kill Malcolm and Dr. King. Then you turn around and give them holidays. Then you turn around and put their faces on stamps. Then you turn around and say, we love them. Then you turn around, make movies, documentaries, because you pimping the people and making money off of people that you killed. This is not a joke. So the reason why I'm saying this is so we cannot fall into this nonsense. Hold the actors, the directors, Sister Regina King, who is directing this, the producers, who happen to be 3 Caucasians, no surprise at all, but they put her face on it as the director. Keith Calder, Jody Klein, Jess Calder. are the producers. But I'm saying, after watching the cast talk about it and Regina King talk about it, where they said we want to bring out the humanity of these people. No, you want to soften them to make white people more comfortable. Malcolm X did not talk kindly about white people. Muhammad Ali did not speak kindly about white people. They did not. That is the reality. I love our sister Regina King. However, I'm sorely disappointed because too many black folks are accomplices in the system of white supremacy. This generation is not going to tolerate this. I'm just making it very clear. This generation watches what you do. And just because you put it in a movie does not mean you're untouchable. Just because you put it in a movie does not mean people are not going to come and correct you. You cannot put certain things in movies that are extremely offensive to the reality of revolutionary groups and organizations. This is not a joke. The reason why y'all talk about the Black Panthers, or not that much, you don't talk too much about them, is because they don't exist. The reason why you don't talk about the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Dr. Martin Luther King's organization, you don't really talk about that too much because it doesn't exist in the way that it did back then. You don't talk about the Deacons of Defense and make fun of them and mock them in movies and film because they don't exist anymore. You don't talk about the MOVE organization because they don't exist anymore. But because the Nation of Islam still exists, you use that as a way to try to mock us and talk about us. You talk about us and mock us because we're still out here. So in that way, you're mentally programming people to think less of those who are fighting for their liberation. And then they are going to try to do something to us, say something about us, and they're going to run into the reality. They're going to run into the reality that we are not some damn funny little group. This is not a joke. So for those of you who are actors, who are artists and singers and all of this, be very mindful that when you receive a script talking about the organizations that fight for your liberation, pass it on, pass it over, say, no, I'm not going to take that part. I'm not going to get into that role. I'm not doing that. Why? Because that's not funny. That's not funny. I'm not about to sit here and mock one of the only longest standing black organizations that have fought for my people. I'm not going to trivialize that. I'm not going to fictionalize that. It's not funny. I'm not going to do that. They did a documentary about Malcolm again on the Godfather of Harlem. They did another documentary on Malcolm X last year. Then another document. They pimp Malcolm. They don't care about Malcolm X. I want to just make this very clear. They don't give a damn about Malcolm X. They don't care. I want you to understand this. They don't give a damn about him. Do you know the mainstream media sent out articles praising the day that Malcolm was murdered? Do you know back then the news, they were praising. They were calling him the greatest anti-Semite at that time. The Jewish ran and controlled media, just like the Jewish ran and controlled media today. They were praising and applauding the day he was murdered. They don't give a damn about him. Period. And people who don't know the facts are the ones who regurgitate the same nonsense. When they say, oh, the nation killed Malcolm, you sound retarded. Like literally retarded. You sound so backwards and unintellectual that it makes white people happy. Whenever a black person opens their mouth and say, oh, the nation killed Malcolm, it makes them so happy to know that you still they nigga. Because you follow the same lies. You still the white folks nigga. When you regurgitate that stupidity. When the government admitted to killing him. Government agents who worked for the government were around him. Malcolm himself said that the nation is not behind this because I trained them. I know what they're capable of, and they are not the ones behind this. Who poisoned him when he went to Egypt? He said it wasn't the nation. You are so far out of logic, it's ridiculous. And you give the same excuse to this white man that everybody else gives. The same one who's been murdering, raping, doing everything to us. You always give them an excuse. This is why most of our people do not operate on the front line, because you are not strong enough to do that. His own daughter, Ilyasa Shabazz, said that the nation was not the ones who killed my father. So stop saying that. And when you say that, it's a psychological statement. That means men, women, and children killed Malcolm back then. Rizza Islam wasn't born until 1990. So what does that mean? What about the young brothers and sisters who are doing wonderful in life? What about the brothers and sisters who are gotten off drugs, no longer prostitutes, because they were brought into the nation and they were brought back to the knowledge of themselves? What does that mean? What the hell are you talking about? You sound stupid. Anybody who regurgitates that lie, and I feel so bad for you because you are the white man's nigga. Yes, it's 2021 and you need to hear it just like this, because some of you and some of those who listen to this nonsense are a problem. Are a big problem. And the stupidity is thick. I feel very bad. I feel very bad. When people who are Sunni Islam, Sunni Muslims, etc., and all of that too, I don't get into the nonsense of the religious nonsense because none of that matters. This system of white supremacy considers you a nigga. It doesn't matter what you call yourself. You can call yourself a Muslim. You can call yourself a Moor. You can call yourself a Nawabian, a Pan-Africanist, Hebrew Israelite. You can call yourself whatever the hell you call yourself. But the system of white supremacy considers you to be a nigga. And that is all you will ever be in their eyes. It does not matter what you think. They see you and me as a nigga. And I know some of you are really like, whoa, Rizza, you saying it real hard. I have to, because you need to know what system you're dealing with. You really need to know what system you're dealing with. Stop regurgitating lies that people tell you that benefit a system that hates you. Stop regurgitating it, including some of the Negroes who regurgitate it. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. It is the year 2021. And you're still regurgitating lies that were originated before you were born. White folks who run this system laugh. Laugh whenever black folks regurgitate lies that originated with them. They laugh at you. You're an embarrassment when you regurgitate things that benefit a system that sincerely hates you, and you regurgitate it as if it's true because you got Negroes who you like, who say it, because you have movies and documentaries that come out and say, well, I think, and possibly with no actual facts. You look so deeply embarrassing. And the work that is being done constantly in front of your face in real life by tens of thousands of black men, women, and children who are in the Nation of Islam and all over the world, and you just don't see any of that, and you say, well, y'all killed Malcolm. You're retarded. It's sickening. It's really sick. You say you love Rizza Islam, but then you talk mess about the Nation of Islam. I'm in the Nation of Islam. What are you talking? You see how crazy that sounds? I love you, Rizza, but I don't like them. Well, I am them. What are you talking about? So the good work I do has nothing to do with the Nation of Islam? Do you know how sad that is? I'm 30 years old. And I've inherited a lie that started before I was born. This is what it feels like when white folks generalize black folks. Period. You don't like when white folks generalize us and talk mess about us, but you do it to yourself. You do it to your damn self. Quite often. And again, it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. So I really pray you are starting to think with your own mind, because again, I have to hop off and go go to class. But this one night in Miami, film, farce, I'm going to do a full breakdown on it. And I'm telling you right now, I will not hold back on this, because from what I already know about the film, how they depicted Betty Shabazz, the wife of Brother Malcolm, how they depicted her so soft, not soft as in soft as a sister, but soft towards the system and giggly and playful. And they're like, wait, hold on. Sister Betty Shabazz was not like that. She was not like that. To my knowledge, she was not like that, because the system, they were constantly being watched and attacked. They're trying to soften up all of this. Soften up the idea of Muhammad Ali. Soften up the idea of Malcolm X. Soften up the idea of Jim Brown. Soften up the idea of Sam Cooke. Why? So that the future generation cannot know the difference, the truth between the lie. And they will push that some of the strongest black men were some of the weakest and softest black men, because they're trying to push the effeminization of the black man and woman, and therefore produce an entire generation of people who can be overtaken, destroyed, manipulated, and therefore push for the overall agenda, which is depopulation. Period. So Regina King, who was stuttering the majority of the time when they were talking about the movie and the film, she was stuttering the majority of the time, and she said, what I want people to take from this film is that I simply believe that we should all live and speak our truth. Let me correct that statement. Your truth is for you. The truth is for the world. You do not mix truth with falsehood. You do not manipulate history when it comes to our legends and those who came before us to fight against a system that still hates us to this very day. You do not ever do that. I don't give a damn how many of you in Hollywood think you are above the people. You will realize how below the people you truly are, because you bend over for a system that continues to misrepresent us, but they would never do that to Jewish people. Never do that to anybody else. They would never do this to any other group of people but us. Black folks need to stop going along with other Negroes who participate in the destruction of our own people. Stop going along with it. I don't care to be liked by most of these celebrities and artists. I don't care to be liked by any of them. If that means that I have to stop standing on integrity, you will never get away with this type of behavior. I promise you. It's not just about Malcolm. It's not just about Sam Cooke. It's not just about Muhammad Ali. It's not just about Jim Brown. They do it too often. But you never do it to Jewish people. You don't ever do this to white folks for the majority. You don't do this to no other group of people except for us. So now when the younger generation is coming up and looking, they're trying to figure out, who am I in the past and in history so that I can know where I need to be in the future. And you are messing up their psychology. Children don't know who to look up. They don't know what is true, what is false, because you keep manipulating our history. We're only going to get stronger as a people in this generation. So I'm going to tell you what you're really doing. You think that Minister Farrakhan is going to die, and that when he dies, your manipulation of history will take over, and that will influence and mold the new minds of the future generation, and you won't have to deal with any other black leadership anymore. Because we will finally have gotten rid of the last one. That's what you think is going to happen. Here's the problem with your little theory. Farrakhan ain't dying. Ever. You know how that is? I am Farrakhan. We are Farrakhan. We are Elijah Muhammad. We are the good works of Malcolm X, the good works of all of our leadership. We are them. We ain't going nowhere. The next generation won't be soft the way you're trying to make us become. It ain't happening. So therefore, you will always deal with this, because you banking on that. That's why you're doing what you're doing, because you are praying that he dies and that his legacy dies like the legacy of every other group, like you stomped out in history all other black revolutionary groups and organizations. It ain't happening with this one. Ever. I know that that's where y'all are. We know that. We're not stupid. You will deal with him and us, like he said, you will deal with me from the grave. And he said, you will deal with me for generations to come. Meaning the characteristics that are a part of him, the characteristics that are a part of him are a part of us. The characteristics that are a part of every great leader that we've had, all the way up to Malcolm X, all the way up to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, all the way up to Marcus Garvey, all of the great leaders that we have ever had, all of the characteristics that they have had are a part of us. And therefore, you will never stomp out the greatest leadership that has ever existed among us, because it will always live. Minister Farrakhan said that when you breathe in these characteristics, Jesus lives again. You breathe in these principles, Muhammad lives again. You breathe in these principles, Moses lives again, and all of our leadership from the top down. You ain't never going to get rid of us. So those of you getting comfortable in Hollywood, if I was you, I would think twice Because as long as you got brothers and sisters like myself and all of us who follow the minister and all of us who have that kind of spirit, whether if you follow him or not, you're not going to be playing no games like this. You're not going to be playing games like this anymore. It's not happening. I'm making it very clear and very known. It doesn't matter what level of celebrity you think you are, you're not untouchable from criticism. You're not untouchable from being heavily criticized and brought to task to do what needs to be done. Stop following white folks, because white folks are going to get you ostracized from us within the community, and you are not going to like that. The same way the Jewish people treat people when you say something that they don't like and they destroy your entire career is the same way it's going to be with us. That's the level of power we're going to move into righteously. You're not going to sit here and make fun of black people, make fun of our historical figures, trivialize our historical figures, minimize the impact that our historical figures had, and then act as if we're just going to kumbaya and go along with that. That ain't going to happen. Same way Jewish people do you is the way we're going to do you. I guarantee that. I guarantee that. Stop following white folks in that manner. Stop following them in that manner. Stop following Jewish white folks in that manner. You're not going to misrepresent us. You're not going to disrespect us. You are not going to step in front of the world and manipulate who we are and make the world think we were some weak group of people that you could just talk about our little civil rights issues, all your little human rights issues. Oh, shut up, y'all. Hush. You didn't get reparations. You ain't gonna get it. Stop complaining. We did everything that we could to y'all. And guess what? Y'all ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. You just gonna keep complaining. No, it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna be more than just complaining. It's going to be more than just complaining. I guarantee you. The threat is in your correction. The threat is in you being held accountable. The threat is in you not being supported by us because you ain't representing us. Who the hell made you believe and made you think it was okay to fictionalize a story about Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown? Who made you even think that that was something that you could do? That's the problem with some of our people. You're a little too disconnected from your own history. Most of you don't read books. Most of you don't watch documentaries. Most of you don't live in the hood. You're not connected to the hood. Most of you don't study. Most of you don't know you. So you're easily manipulated to do what white folks want you to do because you don't know yourself. Sit the hell down and read a book. Sit down and get connected with your history. Again, because Chinese folk would never allow their people to do that. They go snatch you off the damn, they will grab you. If you was Chinese, they will grab you right out of the damn studio. If you were going to misrepresent their leadership in their past, you're not going to misrepresent them. The Chinese don't play that. The Italians don't play that. The Russians don't play that. The Jewish people don't play that. So you ain't going to play us like that. Stop misrepresenting us. Just because you black skin don't mean you have a black mind. And many of you are showing your behind out here. You really banking on the idea that when Minister Farrakhan physically departs, that's it. There will be no more revolution or anything. We can say whatever, do whatever, follow white folks and just give in and bend over completely for the system of white supremacy. I'll be damned. You don't know nothing. You know nothing of what you're dealing with. You really don't understand. Minister Farrakhan's presence is what has kept more peace than anything else. And that's the truth that you need to understand. His presence has kept a lot of peace. Because watching a lot of y'all do some of the things you do is extremely disrespectful to us as a people. And you keep doing this. I'm telling you, everything from y'all, from the rappers talking about, you still telling people to smoke, drink, calling females bitches, all this. See, everything from that, all the way to you fictionalizing and manipulating the history of our great leaders and all of our revolutionaries and all that. You need to stop minimizing it, saying, oh, we're fine now. We had Obama, so we don't need reparations. I'm telling you, Minister Farrakhan's presence has been a mercy because he could have, and still can, Take mercy and just say, you know what? Our people misrepresenting us. We need to go talk to them. Because everybody else does that. Jewish people do that. I'm telling you, every group of people checks their own people. They all do. And they do it behind closed doors. That's why you don't think it happens. Jewish folk check Jewish folk behind closed doors. They do. Italians check Italians. They do it behind closed doors. The Mexican and Chicano hoods and gangs and groups and their mafia, they check Mexican, Chicano, Latin people behind closed doors. They do. They all check their people. You have been allowed to run off and do whatever the hell you want to do, misrepresent us, act like you speak for us, misrepresent, disrespect the black woman, disrespect the black man, trivialize our problems and issues, make fun of us when we get murdered by police, let people off. Khalif Browder goes to jail because he was accused of something that he never did. He was in jail for 2.5 years, comes out, commits suicide. Brother didn't even make it to the age of 30. A little white girl goes and storms the Capitol a couple weeks ago, takes the computer from in there, felony, comes out, oh, she gets released on house arrest to her parents. It's not a damn joke. So any one of these movies that are mocking us, don't support it. But not only that, call against it. Call the boycott and say, why the hell do y'all keep making movies about us, playing with us? Nation of Islam is in the community on a consistent basis, helping people to prevent I'm telling you, again, I'm in it. And there will be a whole lot more murders going on if we were not in the community. We're doing our best. We are stretched thin all across this damn country, over 90,000 cities. Over 328 million people in America. Roughly 50 million are black folks. And you get mad at us as if we're not doing enough work. Have you been outside doing the work with us? And the government utilizes their manipulation to push these lies when we all up in the community. And it's hard as hell to do the work that we do. Hard as hell. When people make statements, oh, I haven't seen a nation over here. Do you know how many cities? Do you know how many people exist? Do you know how many problems are happening all across the country? Do you know how many cities, how many counties, how many states? Do you have any idea? Then on top of us being in the middle of the community trying to prevent the gangs and the guns, people killing each other, we're trying to prevent that. We're trying to prevent the police from killing us. We're in between that. Then in the middle of all this, these are men who are fathers. The FOI in the Nation of Islam, these are brothers who are fathers, who are husbands. So then they also have to take care of their family too. These black people. People talk about the nation like the nation is not black people, like we're not the same people. We're the same damn people. It's not some, oh, y'all the nation, we black folk. What the hell are you talking about? It's a psychological game that this system continues to mess around and get you with. Sound crazy as hell. I'm a black man from Compton living in Compton. And I'm a member of the Nation of Islam. I'm not some separate entity. We want people. Again, let me get off of this thing because, again, Regina King, all of those who were in the film One Night in Miami. It is a fictionalized film about something that did not entirely take place. And they used a light-skinned, not a problem that he's light-skinned, brother from the UK to play Malcolm. He sounded more like Obama, which means the psychological move is to make Malcolm seem softer. Softer, right? Make him softer. Okay. Then you had a dude who played Muhammad Ali. He played him pretty well. Dude who played Jim Brown did a good job. Sam Cooke did a good job. But the real idea is to make Malcolm softer because out of all of those, the most revolutionary of them all was Brother Malcolm and Brother Muhammad Ali. So they made a softening of them. And the interview, when they were talking, the cast members, they said we wanted to communicate and show the humanity of these people. What do you mean the humanity? Because me speaking up against white supremacy is not humane? When Brother Malcolm called them white devils, that he wasn't being humane? When Muhammad Ali said, you my opposer when it comes to freedom. You my opposer when it comes to justice. You my opposer when it comes to equality. You my opposer. He said, ain't no Viet Cong ever called me nigga. You want me to go and kill some Vietnamese people over there when none of them ever called me nigga, but you won't even stand up for my rights here at home. You are the devil that you tell me is underground. Was that not true? That is true. So you want to soften that to make a future generation weaker. It's not going to work. That's my point. And I want everybody to stop getting caught up in the pimping of Malcolm. America does not give a damn about Malcolm X. They hated him. And many of them hate him to this very day. They hated him. I want you to get this thoroughly into your head. When he was assassinated, they applauded. They spread it around in mainstream media. They put out articles. The preacher of hate is dead. They hated him. Now they give him a holiday. Put him on stickers. Put him on all these different movies. They hated him. Don't you ever think that they give a damn about our leaders. Please stop falling into this. And don't you ever teach your child that either. Don't ever tell the children that you have that racism doesn't exist, that we are post-racial. Everything is fine now. Don't you dare do that. You will become an enemy to your people. The Chinese don't say America's the greatest nation. They never say that. They say America is a terrorist. Chinese tell the truth. America's a terrorist because they are. This government is. China has some terroristic tendencies. Yes, they do. Other nations have some terroristic tendencies where they've killed people. Absolutely. But don't lie. Ever. Because your lies create a generation that we have to now take care of. That's my point. And for those of you in these movies, what you do at the top trickles down to the bottom. So then we have to now deal with the seed that you have planted, which created a weed in their mind that we now have to remove. You make it harder for those of us who work in the community. You make it very difficult. Stop talking about things that you know nothing about and things you are not connected to that have the depth and the connection to the very core of our plight as a people. Stop doing that. Period. Stop doing that. I'm just going to make that last point that in order for you to even be qualified to speak up, you must be connected. You're not connected, which is why you talk the way you do, which is why you bend over for these so-called Jews, the synagogue of Satan, not all Jewish people, the evil ones who do evil and wickedness and practice evil and wickedness, and they call themselves Jews. The same way people who practice evil and wickedness and they call themselves Muslims. The same way people practice evil and wickedness and they call themselves Christians. The same way people practice evil and wickedness and they call themselves whatever label is a good label, but they call themselves that, but they practice that which goes against the very label that they claim. I'm not going to go for that. That's all I'm saying. So the next time any one of you, not the next time, forget the next time, we're going to call it out now. As a result of this, you will know and understand that you will not produce a film that deals with historical black figures, historical black leaders, male and or female, without being historically accurate, and you're going to tell it exactly how it was. Stop playing with us, because the children now have to be brought up under something that they don't even know is the truth versus falsehood. That's what a devil does, mixing truth with falsehood, because now we have to deal with that. So when we step out and speak the truth, people say, oh, no, that's not what that movie said. That's not what that's it. Because they're following white people. Regina King, I'm telling you, sister, that was wrong. And anybody else participating with these things, you're wrong. You're very wrong. None of you are untouchable. We can get in touch with all of you and talk to you. We can criticize you. We have lots of large platforms that we can speak to you on. You're not untouchable. You're not going to pretend as if being Hollywood means being separate from black people. You may think that, but that's not the reality. You're wrong for that. And again, portraying Betty Shabazz as some weak little woman too, you are all very wrong. You're very wrong. And I pray that you get some sense because I'm one young brother. There are plenty who are not as controlled as I am when it comes to how we communicate this truth to you. Stop playing. That's really, seriously, stop playing and stop banking thinking that, oh, because now things are different. What's different? My other problem, and I'm going to get off of this, my other problem is that some of you hang around white folks so much that you lose your blackness. You lose yourself completely. You lose the very connection to your own melanin, and you sacrifice yourself to be accepted by them. But then when things pop off, they never sacrifice themselves, their position, their circumstance, nor their privilege to be accepted by you. All of your white friends, none of them will drop their privilege to be accepted by black folks. And don't you ever forget it. Anybody who's white watching this, you know what I'm saying is true. I don't care if you get mad either. Because all the white folks that I know tell me the truth. And they appreciate me for speaking the truth. They appreciate that. They definitely appreciate that. They don't expect me to drop it as hard as I do, because I say it just like this to them. I don't care to be accepted by you if it means that I must abandon my blackness, if I must abandon who I am. I will never do that. If you want me to abandon that, then I will drop you extremely quick. I want no parts of being accepted by a system that doesn't deserve my respect. I don't care about how you feel about it. I'm a black man. Nothing you say or do is going to make me turn away from that. You cannot buy me or us. We are not going to bend over. We are not going to capitulate to your system. If you threaten us with death, great. Fear not he who can kill the body, but he who can kill the body and the soul. None of that makes us afraid anymore. I'm 30 and there are thousands, tens of thousands of us. Rizza Islam ain't the only one. I'm just one young brother doing my best. But I will be damned if we continue to deal with this type of nonsense. Stop falling for the game. Stop falling for the trick. Stop falling for all of it. Stop allowing them to play with us. Stop allowing them to play with us. Period. And that is the only thing I'm going to make sure we get through our head today. And those of you who are talking, please be mindful. People know who the truth is versus who a liar is. People who talk to sell things versus people who talk to actually help the people. If you are not representing us as a people, I recommend you stay in your lane. Because all of you artists and celebrities, you're getting beside yourself right now because your white folks have emboldened you and have made you feel comfortable, like you're the person who can do this. Hey, keep going. We'll support you. No, you will never get the respect of us as a people. And not only that, you will not be able to continue to do what you do if it disrespects us as a people. I'm being very serious with you. So the movie, the fictionalized One Night in Miami is a joke. As a former actor, it's a joke. As a member of the Nation of Islam, it's a joke. As a black man, I'm saying it's a joke. No one else allows anything like that to take place where it makes fun of, trivializes their history as a people. You wanted to soften up and effeminize Malcolm in the eyes of the people. That's what the purpose of that film was. You wanted to soften up slightly and effeminize the image of Muhammad Ali. That was also the purpose as well. You wanted to soften up and effeminize Sam Cooke more because he was already a decent brother, but he was more so on the R&B side and the rhythm and blues. But you still wanted to soften up the whole thing and manipulate history. Because when people watch this film, the majority of people on the planet are not aware of their psychological manipulation. They're not aware. The majority of them are not aware. That's why they're easily able to be psychologically manipulated. So they don't know what is fact versus fiction. This is why, again, I put this in here. Tell Live Vision Programming. Mental control over the masses. Link in the bio, link in the bio, link in the bio. I knew what they were doing. So when I saw this, someone said, Rizza, you need to go see American Skin. I saw American Skin. I was like, dope. Then someone said, Rizza, you need to go see One Night in Miami. And I looked, I said, wow, here they go again, pimping Malcolm X, pimping him, pimping. Kill them and then make money off of them. Kill them, then make money off of them. Kill them, then sell them to the people. Kill them, make it seem like we are happy and we love him. When we applauded his death, we helped to get him assassinated. We helped to kill him. We love it. We spread it around the news. Back then when he died, they applauded when he died. They applauded when he died. Get it again. The same people promoting the movies to you are the same ones who was promoting that they were happy that Malcolm was assassinated. They were happy. They were happy when King was assassinated. I'm grinding this in our head. They were happy. You really have to understand. This is not a game. So when I saw this, I felt personally disrespected. And I felt as if they really think that they can just talk about black folks, say whatever the hell they want to say, and that we're not going to check them. But again, they would never do this to Italians. They would never do this to Chinese. They would never do this to Jewish people, ever, 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 ever. Because while they were in the middle of production, the Jewish groups would have came in and shut down the whole program. All of those actors would have never been heard from again. Their entire career would have been destroyed, period. But because it's black folks, oh, you can abuse black folks. You can say whatever the hell you want to about them, and they just gonna let it go. Put a black woman's face on it. Let it go down like that. They're not going to say nothing. Regina King, no, we're going to say something about it. So I'm going to hop off of here. I wasn't supposed to be on here this long. I had to go to class, but I'm very disgusted with One Night in Miami. I'm disgusted with everyone who participated in it. Get connected to your people. Get connected to history. Sit down and read a book. For once. Put down fictionalized scripts. Put down the scripts that are written by white people for the majority. I know this one was written by a black man who was heavily influenced by white people. He also wrote the script for Soul. So I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed, just so you know. I'm not even close to impressed that it's a black man who wrote it. I don't give a damn that it's a black man who wrote it. He shouldn't have wrote it because you lied. So just because you're black, what does that mean? We're over that nonsense. They use black people to destroy black people. They use black people to rape black people. They use black people to rob black people. They use black people to get to black people. This is a status. This is a trademark. This is a strategy in the art of war. You use that of that people in order to bypass their nature. So you won't suspect anything. It doesn't mean you should be paranoid. It means we should always vet them. Check them out and see what their intentions are. Just because you got black skin don't mean you have a black mind. It does not mean you are for us as a people, period. And I'm saying again, before I hop off, I am going to do a full breakdown of this, but I'm also going to, as I just hopped off of a major interview today with Hip Hop Uncensored, I'm going to be on some of the biggest platforms within the next couple weeks. I'm going to call out names of certain people, actors, artists, people who need to be held accountable. Stop talking if you're not connected to your people. Stop talking. Stop pushing this. Black people should just be with white people. If you're a black man, you should get with a white girl. If you're a black girl, you should get with a white man. All of that nonsense, you can find. If that's your decision, fine. I get that. But I'm saying stop the promotion of the nonsense. Stop promoting that racism doesn't exist. Stop promoting that we should forget our history. Stop promoting that Obama took the place of reparations. Stop promoting this soft, punctified, weak, Mickey Mouse milk toast nonsense. Stop promoting it. Because you're demonstrating that you have no knowledge of self, no knowledge of God, no knowledge of your history, no knowledge of the devil, no knowledge of the time and what must be done. You don't know who you are. You don't even care to know who you are. Some of you love being more white than you are black. And as long as you can make white people comfortable, that's exactly where many of you want to be. I'm not a part of that group, and there are many of us who will never be a part of that group. I intend to make white people who are racist uncomfortable. I intend to step in a room and speak the truth and watch to see who squirms first, because you need to know who is who. Too many of you want to be accepted by a system that hates you, and that's your damn problem. Many of you celebrities and artists have no right to even be in the position that you're in, to have the ability to be seen by so many millions of people, because you misrepresent us every damn chance you get. And I'm really sick of it. I'm very tired of it. Really, I'm tired of it. So stop talking unless you have the actual facts and unless you really care about your people and really love your people. Until then, shut your mouth, read a book, pray, get in the hood and start talking to some real people so that they can help you to understand exactly what being black really means, because it's not just some skin color. It's not some goddamn fad nor trend. Leave it alone, because those of us on the ground have become brought up to a position on social media to where we have a little status. We got some clout by God's permission. So you ain't too far. Revolutionaries got Instagrams now. Revolutionaries have social media platforms now. You're not untouchable. Tell your white sky daddy, your white slave master, your Jewish friends, whoever makes it uncomfortable for you to be black, tell them that you are about to go back into who you are and separate from them in a nonsense, or else you are going to be ostracized from us as a people in the manner that you operate under. And I say that with love, but sincerely, we tired of this crap. I appreciate y'all, man.